Hello, everybody. Let's talk a little about perception and the perception of Palantir, or lack thereof, of the perception of Palantir. It's all about marketing, marketing, marketing. If a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there to hear it, did it actually make a sound? Absolutely. But did it have any ripple effect? Absolutely not. And that's kind of what's happening with Palantir. Palantir does really amazing shit and nobody's paying attention because nobody's really talking about it. There's many reasons why people are not talking about it, because most analysts are bankers. Bankers don't like something called DPO, which is a direct public offering. They like something called an IPO, initial public offering. Banks usually take 20% cut of the price when you list on the stock market, the difference, and that's their cut that they put in their pocket. Which means when you list as an IPO, usually the price of the company is overinflated, and the reason is the bankers want to take more money, and due to greed, they get that money, and the price is inflated and you suffer. Palantir refused to do this, and they did something called a DPO, direct public offering. By doing this, they reduced the price of shares, they reduced the cost of the price of shares. And by doing this, in some way, shape, or form, they were able to save you, the buyer of the shares, some money. And this is a very uncommon practice. There's only a handful of companies that do DPOs. The reason why is they don't want to be hated on by Wall Street for the exact same reason that's happening to Palantir. They become shunned. Palantir only has 10 analysts that are analyzing the stock, that have coverage of the stock. In comparison, Snowflake has over 30 analysts that are analyzing the stock. What does that exactly mean? The more analysts you have that are initiating coverage of a stock, whether it's good, bad, or neutral, it is more eyes and more ears on your product. There's no such thing as bad publicity. There's just good publicity, better publicity, and great publicity. That's it. The lack of people talking about Palantir definitely reflects at the share price of Palantir. Because although earnings have a huge effect on the share price is not solely based on the financials and the merit of the company. I know what I said sounds stupid, but it's a fact. The company that does really, really good compared to a company that doesn't do really, really good. But the company that does really, really good, nobody's talking about them. As opposed to the company that's doing okay, has great social media, and has a lot of news coverage, that company will get a higher share price than the company that's doing really good. Because we got a new initiation, that's fantastic. And the new initiation is by Bank of America. Bank of America is a heavy hitter and a household name within the entire United States and the world. So having an analyst from Bank of America just initiate coverage of Palantir is in itself an extremely positive conductor to the share price going up. But the analyst was actually very favorable to Palantir and initiated a share price 50% higher than the current share price. Let's read the article. Palantir stock can take off because, and I quote, data is a strategic asset. Data is a strategic asset. We talk about this on this channel all the time. Data is the new gold. Data is the new oil. And he who possesses the shovel to dig out the natural resources from the ground is the person that's going to become the richest, not the person that's actually digging. Because you're not sure if you're ever going to hit gold or not hit gold. But if you're providing the shovel for the gold, you're always going to hit a home run because people are always buying from you. And Palantir is the biggest freaking mother effing shovel around. Shoveling the data, shoveling the data, shoveling the data. And because data is an asset, that makes Palantir such a valuable company and such a unique company that very few companies can emulate, and even fewer companies can actually compare to what Palantir does, if any at all. My opinion, 0 companies can do what Palantir can do. And the difference is Palantir builds an entire enterprise as opposed to other companies, they can do bits and pieces, but not the whole kit and caboodle. Bank of America global research analyst Mariana Perez Mora began coverage of the stock with a price target that is more than 50% above the levels before her call. Mora rates the shares at a buy with a target of $13, while the stock closed on Friday $8.24. It's up nearly 10% between yesterday and today. Stock market was closed on Monday. So obviously Palantir is going on a little bit of a run. The entire market is actually starting to go on a little run, specifically the tech sector that's outpacing S&P and Dow over the last 2 days. But Palantir has taken off a little harder than the rest. And I'm going to give you a theory about this at the end of the video. Palantir stands to benefit from the growing demand for AI-based software from commercial and government clients, the analyst wrote in a research note. The company's strong market position and differentiated software should support annual growth north of 30% a year, with improving profits over time. And Palantir always says that we're going to go 30% a year up until 2025. And increased urgencies modernizing the U.S. military and intelligence capability, and I quote, should provide significant opportunities, she said. Huge opportunities are coming, man. That 30% is sandbagging. That does not take into account the geopolitical uncertainty that just happened in Ukraine. People will be running for Palantir technology. Running. I know I sound crazy. Mark my words. Screenshot this video and come back to me in 12 months. See if NATO, European Union, the UK is not lining around the corner for Palantir to use their software. But it's going to get better. Palantir shares have fallen. And I quote, while geopolitical tensions posed a risk in worldwide software penetration, they are an opportunity for Palantir's national security solutions in the US and allied countries, as militaries and intel services will need enhanced data and logistic capabilities as soon as possible. I never read this report. This is the first time I'm reading it. But what I said, she just said. Obviously, I'm not an analyst, but I've been saying it for quite a while. The reason why people are not covering them is because people don't want to dig deep into what exactly Palantir does, and people don't want to open up their minds and actually think, is Palantir going to prosper with what's happening right now? Does Palantir actually thrive in worst case scenarios? The answer is yes and yes. And the more people that are going to start realizing this, the more initiated coverage there will be, and the more initiated coverage there will be, this was going to cause a FOMO moment. FOMO moments plus actually delivering and bing bang and bada bing bada boom, Palantir price will thrive. Palantir price will moon up. I'm not a financial advisor, purely an entertainer and educator at best, but I do something called theoretical investing, looking at the macro, looking at the bigger picture. And this woman gets it. And I quote, we expect U.S. and allied defense budgets to grow with increased focus on modernization and implementation of new technologies. Mora added, data is a strategic asset and national security agencies have to make sure they are operationalizing its security to better defend from near-peer threats like China and Russia. The recent Russo-Ukraine conflict made clear that time is of the essence and new technologies have to be incorporated as soon as possible. Guys, I'm not going to bore you with much, but think about this. Palantir says that they're trying to be the sixth prime of DoD, Department of Defense. If you are a prime of the Department of Defense, you're also a prime of United States allies, specifically NATO, European Union, and UK, which means the United States gives a lot of funding to these allied countries. And the United States tells them, hey, why don't you use one of our companies? Now, Palantir doesn't only want to be the sixth prime of the DoD, they want to be the first and only software prime of the DoD. So the next time the United States or her allies have any strategic planning, strategic operations, or anything to do with data, guess who they're going to be calling? Palantir. This is going to be a massive boost to Palantir's business. That plus this analytical coverage, plus Palantir closing out huge contracts or potential huge contracts with the NHS. I went over that a couple of videos ago. And Palantir is destined to shine. Now, I'm not going to say this is a guaranteed home run because there's a lot of things that could go wrong. However, if those things don't go wrong and everything goes according to plan, well, Palantir is going to be a freaking monster. And a triple-digit share price is going to be all so much the reality instead of a distant future dream. Guys, thank you so much.